It's Tuesday, April 20th. This is The Street Live. I'm Katherine Ross, and I am joined by Jim Cramer. Jim, let's kick it up with the markets. What are you watching?
Well, I think that interest rates going down again, which is not what people thought, has turned around some of the market. We had a Procter & Gamble report and J&J report, and they seemed ho-hum. They received ho-hum. They're very good quarters. And now as interest rates turn down, people go to them. And an action alert name that I like very much, Eli Lilly, is the same. There's no news on Lilly. None. And because of this newfound belief that there's some sort of non-inflationary slowdown, which, by the way, I've not found a single drop of evidence of that, but that's what's gripping the bond market. Eli Lilly is up huge. So what you have right now is a bond market that's saying we're going to go, we're going to have a severe slowdown, which I just can't believe. And that's controlling Bristol Myers, Eli Lilly, J&J, Merck, Amgen, and I just don't buy it for a minute. However, whether I buy it or not, it is what's happening.
Well, and Jim, yesterday you penned a real money column that focused in on the two different markets that we've got, the house of pain or the house of pleasure. So I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind breaking down what you mean by that.
Okay, so when you talk to individuals who have gotten involved with the market in the last year, they will tell you a tale of pain. They'll say, I touched this, I bought that, I bought the plug power here, and I bought the Lucid there, and I bought the FISKER here, and I bought the QuantumScape there, and the Tesla's not making up for it, and of course I bought the GameStop at 300, and these are tales of woe. There's just tales of woe. And then there's the traditional buyer, traditional money manager, who bought, Caterpillar, who bought Disney, bought NVIDIA, bought Texas Instruments, and they're saying, wow, this is the greatest market in the world because everything I touch goes up. And these two worlds have collided with the world of losers being blown out. I find that the losers tended to get their information from sources that weren't worth following and took levels of risk that were not in sync with themselves. Whereas the professionals just said, hey, listen, it's our kind of market, stock pickers market. Costco has a great quarter, let's go buy some Costco. As opposed to GameStop has a bad quarter, let's go buy GameStop. Now, I laid it on pretty thick against Wall Street bets. And I did that because a lot of people follow them. And so, there'll be a lot of people I mentions column say, Jim, why do you keep picking them? Well, no, they're emblematic of the craziness that I saw where people bought call options on things that didn't move and or went down. And I don't think anyone's called them out on it because they're afraid, because the vociferous nature of the Wall Street Bets Reddit crowd is unlike anything I've ever seen. And I think is very offensive. And that is their dogma. Costs people a lot of money. They will come in and say, well, Jim, you killed us with Bear Stearns. I mean, are you kidding me? I said to short Bear Stearns for that weekend. Or you're killing me with a video that you did with Aaron Task. And it was like, no, I never did those things. I told people that. It was hyperbole. That's what they keep pointing on. What they should point on the things I get wrong. I mean, that I get wrong in the last 20 years. But they don't do that. Why? Because they knew, the critics don't do any homework. But they have cost people fortunes. And I think someone has to call them out. If you call out Bank of America, if they've cost you money. I mean, Credit Suisse cost their shareholders money with Archegos. I like to call people out, and I call myself out. And they have been, they've gaffed people like you wouldn't believe. This obsession with GameStop is repulsive.
Well, so Jim, based on this real money column that you wrote, what is your advice to investors?
Well, you have to do homework. You have to decide what level of pain you can handle. You should stop using calls. It's not that kind of market, unless you want to do deep in the money calls as a way to be able to have more positions. We at Action Alerts provide a list. This is not a commercial for Action. I don't even give a damn if you subscribe. Doesn't impact me, my life, one bit. And someone could say, well, Jim, you make 30 cents per. Okay, well, there you go. But, I mean, we try to spend a lot of time demonstrating how to do research. And the way you do research is not to find a big short position a la Clover, CLOV. That's another one they want to take up because apparently they make up stories about anything. UWMC, Clover's got 26% short. UWMC is 14%. You don't look at that. What you look for is a good company. And if it happens to have a big short position, well, terrific. I mean, I happen to have tonight JCOM on tonight. JCOM has got a 13% short position. It was attacked by a short seller. The short seller drove the stock down by about 40 points. The short seller was completely wrong. The company's worth a great deal of money. And that's a good story. Don't look at the short purse. That's what they're doing, is looking at the short purse. And that's what was about Clover, whatever that, Clover's been a company that has been very questionable.
By one of the largest critics has been Hindenburg Research, who notoriously does do these reports about short positions, although it's not clear if they have a short position in it. Jim,
very fine work. Now, I did criticize them for Grow Generation, and Nate said, he screwed up on that, and that's okay. He did. It was like one of these things where he thought the valuation. He forgot valuation. And he forgot what happens when you are in a situation where suddenly you get states legalizing marijuana. And he didn't count on that, and so he got that wrong. But some of his work tends to be of high quality.
So, Jim, I want to use this opportunity to kind of float the conversation of SPACs back to your Mad Money segment from last night, where you talked about how you called it that the SPACs would fall out of favor, but there are still some good ones out there. So I'm wondering, for investors who are looking at these so-called good SPACs, how much of a position do you suggest building at this point?
You can have one. The SPACs don't have a lot of legitimacy in my eyes because the out years are so hyped. I happen to like, for instance, FISKER, which got recommended today by Merrill Lynch as a pure spec that one day it could be the next Tesla. And it's low. It's a very interesting opportunity. I recommend it today, and I think that's a decent stock. I think FISKER could make a comeback. I like that one very much.
Well, and it was interesting because FISKER was your stop trading, and based on the note that you just referenced, but you also said that you don't think it could. You said, Jim, that you don't think it could be the next Tesla.
Well, here's what I'm saying.
That's okay.
No, here's what I'm saying. That if everything goes right, it's the next Tesla. It's got to execute. And that's because, remember, Heinrich FISKER is a brilliant designer, and he's got this outsourcing with Magna, which talked about it very positively. It's got this Ocean, which Bill McDermott, who's the CEO of ServiceNow, has, who tells me it's terrific, and he joined the board of FISKER, and McDermott is a completely legitimate guy. I really like that, and the stock has come down. Let's see how far this thing has come down. This is kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for what I would regard as a broken SPAC, okay? Now, this thing was, not that long ago, at 28, now it's at 13. That's a broken SPAC. Now, I don't want Lordstown. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want Nikola. Some of these are just bad. I waffle on QuantumScape. QuantumScape has come down now. It's down 62% to 31. Interesting spec on the new kind of battery and the fact that Volkswagen has a big stake, although it's a little opaque, and there is a lockup expiration in the month of May. But otherwise, I'm looking for broken SPACs.
So SPACs have had their day in the sun. Let's switch our conversation over to a topic that has still some room to run, and that to me right now is Dogecoin, because it is Doge Day. It's also 420, and Elon Musk has called Dogecoin the people's crypto. And interestingly enough, Jim, Joe Weisenthal in Bloomberg's 5 Things column broke down how Dogecoin has been, and I quote, a better investment than Bitcoin for its entire existence. So I'm wondering, since you invested in Bitcoin, what would you need to see from Dogecoin to take it as seriously?
I can't. Nothing. Nothing. It's made up. They're all made up. You could argue U.S. dollars made up. You could argue, but this one started as a joke, and the joke's not going to be on me. It just won't. Even if it goes up, it won't. I own Ethereum, and I own Bitcoin. And frankly, that's enough. I do not need to own Dr. Pepper Keurig if I own Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And I think that if there is a comeuppance to this crypto world, it will be concentrated on Doge. And I know that there are many people, again, one of the reasons that it's been so hard to read my Twitter mentions is it's about attacking me and my honesty and promoting Doge. And I'm not going to promote Doge. I mean, I was happy to say that I like crypto, but Doge is a joke, and it's meant to be a joke. So don't count on me. I'm not part of the joke.
And Jim, I do have to say, because both you and I get tagged in a lot of tweets, and they can be quite brutal, especially this week. I mean, it's quite shocking to see
it's
people's
been about
opinions.
9-to-1 bad to good, and there's just people who want to drive me away, and I'm going to give them a chance to burn out. They'll probably be gone soon, but the vociferous nature of them, in the face of what is really a pretty decent record that I have, shows me that they're short timers. They'll be here and then they'll be gone, and we can go back to normal. But they have to lose all their money first, and they're proving to be very adept at doing that. So,
Jim, let's switch our attention back to stocks, since you are the stock guy. And I first want to ask about United Airlines, basing off of reporting its 5th consecutive quarterly loss. But CEO Scott Kirby said that they are focused on the next milestone on the horizon and that they do see a path to profitability. So what should investors do with UAL, in your opinion?
Look, it went up, I think, because Delta had a decent quarter, and people thought that United would. It might not have been down so much if Delta hadn't reported first. If they had reported first, I think we'd be fine with it. Look, I'm not a big airline fan except for Southwest. I think Southwest is doing very well. And I am a big Boeing fan, but one of the reasons I'm a big Boeing fan is the CFO, Greg Smith. And you see the impact of one man's departure. Greg Smith's departure from the CFO job at Boeing is crushing Boeing today.
And we'll be talking about that over on our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown video. But Jim, before we get to that, I also want to talk about Cathie Wood, because Cathie Wood's ARC sold nearly 600K shares of Virgin Galactic, and space has been under pressure with its stock down about 5% year to date. So in your opinion, was this getting rid of just a laggard to make space for another stock?
Doug Cass has a really interesting piece today that basically says she's lost it. That's a hard judgment because she's had a lot of money come in. But that Virgin Galactic, I mean, maybe she has it at a very low base, but that was a kind of a quizzical sale, and I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm not sure what to make of a lot of things she's doing. She has a couple of small cap stocks that she comes in and buys, and she has other stocks when they get hit, she comes in and buys, because I guess she's so big, it's her only chance to really buy things at a better price. But following her has been a real sucker's game. You gotta be in that ETF. You can't just look at it and say, "Ooh, tomorrow I'm going to do this," because she tends to move stocks. It's almost as if she wants to move them. I don't know. There's a lot of questionable thinking there. Now, I could easily say, yes, but how about last year? But, I had a year in 1997 where I had just a fantastic run. And then in 1998, my luck ran out. And I got hurt. And I was only up a little with the market up. I mean, sometimes I think that's going to be her lot in life.
Well, and Jim, you can read, well, for anyone who hasn't read it, because I agree with you that Doug Cass's column is important to read. He kind of gives an interesting take on it. You can read that over on realmoney.com next to your column, actually. And before we get to our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show, I did want to talk about Abbott. We are going to hit on this more thoroughly over on that show, but Abbott Labs was your mad dash this morning based on this antigen test approval and the earnings. So you called it. Yes, Jim?
There's 2 of these for $24. You take it before you go to the office if you're not feeling well, and it'll give you the test immediately, 15 minutes. The numbers are really pretty accurate, and maybe it'll keep you home because the caseload numbers continue to be high, and we got to get the caseload numbers down. And the best way to do that is through testing. And the best way to do testing is at-home testing. So this Binex now could be the difference for a lot of people's lives. But it also didn't make it into the quarter. And that was going to hurt that last quarter and will help this quarter.
And Jim, before we get to our Action Alerts Plus show, I want to talk about two things that you are involved in. And the first is your episode of The Inflection Point drops today. For those who may not understand what I'm saying, do you mind breaking down what The Inflection Point is and what your role is here?
Well, Monica Langley, who's a fantastic journalist and the person who co-wrote Mark Benioff's book, is doing a series of interviews with people, and I'm looking at some of the people and who she feels when they've like a Dan Schulman, a Neil Bushry, the critical moment in their lives, Darius Adamczyk from Honeywell. So it's a lot of people you see on Mad Money all the time, and they're giving you a pretty upfront, personal look at yourself, as interviewed by Monica, who is kind of I guess she's like the in-house writer and a reporter for Salesforce. I've known Monica for years. I guess I've known Monica since 1983. She was at the Journal forever, and she works at Salesforce. And I think people should watch them. I think they're fantastic. And the one about me, I said a lot of stuff I've never told anybody. That's the way Monica works. She got me.
Well, and it drops today, so I'll be excited to tune in. I'm sure that our viewers will be as well. And Jim, you also are serving as the Master of Ceremonies at the Commitment to Cure's virtual gala.
Yes, this is about migraine. People who know me know that before Aimovig and Nurtec, I suffered 27 migraine a month, which is an absurd amount. I had tried Botox, I tried Bufferin, extra strength migraine, whatever. Nothing worked. And when I had migraine, I would throw myself into my work. Concentration kind of hurt, but throw myself into my work so I didn't think about the pain. But then with these new drugs, the pain has been dramatically lessened. I mean, I had one this morning when I woke up and I popped a Nurtec. Nurtec is Biohaven Labs. It's a very good stock because Nurtec is a miracle for people who have migraine, and so is my Aimovig, which I just can't believe I'm lucky enough to get because of Dr. Larry Newman. And I am happy to host this because it does more than just migraine. It does Alzheimer's. When I say does, I mean it raises awareness. And we have some really great people, including Robin Williams's wife. Tragic situation, and she is able to tell a very difficult story, and I'm very proud of it. I am very grateful to the people at who run the event, the Commitment to Cures, because I know that I never thought I could be cured.
With that, Jim, let's head on over to our Action Alerts Plus Daily Rundown show for members. You guys can tune in. We are going to be talking about Boeing, Nike, Abbott. I mean, these are all stocks that are interesting moves in today's market. So come join us over there. I'm Katherine Ross, and we'll see you tomorrow.